Training them.
Be going high speed, that's the reason for the backwards hat here. This thing really moves. All right, guys, we're down to about 45 days here before the season opener, so we've got to find out what buck we're hunting. I've deployed about 10 or 12 cameras for this Loch Ness buck. That's the one I really want to know if he's alive, because that could be a deer of a lifetime. You know, if you remember back to last winter, he had a great big hematoma on his right side, and I never got pictures after, say, late January of a buck with a hematoma. So I don't know if he made it through the winter or not. So that's number one. We've got to find out where he is and if he's still alive. And what I do when I set up my trail cameras is I think about it like hunting. I want to put these in areas where you would put up a tree stand. You know, you want access, you want wind in your favor and all that, but I've got a spot right here behind me. There's a little land bridge, a culvert right here. Perfect spot for a camera. They're going to use this, run back and forth. Any of your edges, you know, right now they're on beans and alfalfa, clover now that it's greened back up. So any of those kind of edges, you'd be surprised how much edge of a cornfield you'll catch deer as well. This time of year, they'll bed in corn a lot. Any place you can pinch them down, creek crossing, all that stuff is a great place to put them. We've got these 10 or 12 cameras out for him. I haven't checked them yet because I'm doing a little different this year. I turned off the cell feature, I turned off the Cuddy link, so it's just go back and check the SD card. I've wanted to do that for 2 or 3 years just for personal reasons, but I'm going to run the cameras. I love running trail cameras, and so I've got the SD card I can always check at the end of the year or a couple times during the season, you know, just to see what happened during the year. I don't want to give that up completely. Number 2 today, we're going to go over and visit the new 80, see how that's coming along. We got all the food plots in, the corn's up. I'll show you my access into that blind that we set up, you know, back in May or whenever that was. And third, we'll probably head over to the new permission farm and see how that food plot looks. We got that seeded as well. We'll see if it's up. We haven't been over there yet, so we'll all go look at that together.
Ready to go see your new food plot?
Yes, sir.
Did you get the kill buck there?
Yeah, if there's one there, have at it, Devin.
200 and above?
Well, that could be a little different story.
200, it ain't getting shot.
At least not by you. I seen a giant up on this alfalfa last night, so I'm coming in to check this camera right here, hoping he's on it. That is a lot of pictures.
Not mad about that, are you?
Nope. Yes, sir. This stuff's looking good. It's all up. Well, I was just talking about, we added this plot in, nice little green source. I put a fall mix in here and it's alfalfa already. It kind of adds to one of my other stands down here. I figure it's going to make a better go-between coming up here, going down there. So it'll be traveling through, which is nice if you're worried about, if you're sitting in a tree with 2 guys worried about getting spotted. I'd rather have them moving through versus just right around you. Yeah, this is a plot that we no-till drilled with a monster buck. That mix that I made up the other day looks awesome already. Finally catching some rain, yes. We got 7 inches of rain in a week. Yeah, we needed that. Needed that. We're good for a while now.
On to the 80?
Yep, on to the 80, boys. Wanted to show you guys the access. We're over here at the new 80. You guys might remember me talking about how we're going to access that blind. Just pop in from this area right here. I want to show you this trail through the corn, how cool that is to get in and out. Let's go take a look at it. Cedars to cover your access. Now, as you can see here, this is the one downside to mowing a trail. The deer are going to use that some, so super important to spray your boots down. Corn's doing great. Looks good. Let's hop up in that redneck and see what that looks like up there.
Okay,
Yeah. I said the rubbing post is gone. It's all covered up. Where'd it go?
What a transformation.
Wow, it's cool to see it all come together. Looks awesome. I was a little concerned this wasn't going to grow corn very well, but we've got a good food source here, so that's exciting. Let's run down and take a look at the other spot where we got a little food plot and another redneck. That's all been drilled as well. Let's see if that's coming up.
This is what keeps me dreaming, man. Seriously. Someday, Owen.
Someday. You know what's odd about that, Josh, is I said the same thing. Someday, I would just want to have 50 acres somewhere. My own little, I can plant my food plots, my own little honey hole. It's doable, it's possible. If I can do it, you can do it, everybody can do it. We got to trim this up right here, but I'll show you my access to this other redneck in the food plot we worked on here the other day. Again, I'm trying to use the cedars to hide us coming in so nothing can see us on either side. And I did an alternate path. You always got to have two options, so we've got another one. This one's going to be a little tricky if you had something in the plot getting in, but as far as anything bedded on the sides, it's perfect. Boy, she looks good. It's coming up beautiful, guys. This is that same monster buck mix that I had on my blog the other day. If you wonder what I mixed together and drilled in here, just go to my daily blog and I explained that whole thing on there. So really cool to see this coming up. It's going to be an awesome plot. One thing I talked about on the last main show was putting all broadleaf in so you can come back and spray for grass. You can see I missed a little spot when I sprayed right there. It's got grass. We can always come back and spray this again. Right here's my tree that's going to have all the scrapes on it. Thing of beauty, you're talking 18 yards from that blind. So we've got a cutty back set up over there. We've been seeing a lot of does here, so that's one of the things you want to put away in the memory bank. Bunch of does down here. Okay, we start getting into late October, early November, spot you want to be in. Let's go check the scrape tree out here. Yeah, she's up good. This is going to be beautiful. All right, so we made a bunch of scrapes, big hub of scrapes on this side toward the blind. We eliminated the limbs on the back side because we don't want them using those and walking off. We can't get a shot. So everything's on this side, bunch of good looking scrapes. And they would naturally open these up too, but we just helped them along. Let's look at the one that's got the cutty back down here. So I used this scrape just to get our intel. You know, if a big buck's bothered by that camera, that's the reason I didn't put it on that big scrape up. We'll just let them go over there and be comfortable, scrape there. We'll use this one to get our inventory right here. So that's why I put the camera on this one. And we got a doe carrying on over here. Well, I assume it's a doe with all the doe pictures down here, but that's cool. Deer everywhere. This was just our access to get in and make the plot. We talked about that creek access, and that's the plan. So before I see this plot, we were over at the permission farm. This has been seeded and we haven't been here yet, so I'm interested to see what this looks like. It's going to be hooray or disappointment. Let's check it out. So this was broadcast instead of drilled because of the trees in here. We thought it'd be tough to drill. And I can see right now we need to do some spray and all this grass has got to go. The stuff is up though. You start looking here, there is a food plot coming up, but I'm gonna go more with disappointed more than hooray. So it's got potential. We'll see how it turns out. I'm gonna say failure. Had we turned this up better with the disc and we had more dirt, we'd be better off. You see the spots that have dirt exposed soil? It's coming up pretty good, and you see the stuff that's got the thick thatch. Just didn't get down to the soil, so. Spray all this again for grass. I think what's here will be all right. There's a couple places seeded a little thick. Some of it's a little light, but we got food for the first year. Not super excited about it, but not super disappointed either. Got a cutty back right here. We'll check that, see what's on it. Yeah, you look at this stuff here where there's soil exposed. I mean, that's coming up good. Maybe a little too thick, actually. That helped the population here. About 800 pictures, so that'll be interesting. Well guys, we got a little more work to do in here to make this lush, but don't forget, as we get closer to season and all this stuff starts to unwind, you can catch a lot of this stuff on the daily channel. If you're on YouTube, go to Midwest Whitetail Daily and you'll catch my blog, and all the other guys will be on there as well, so that'll start ramping up. Appreciate it again. We'll see you on the next one.
They're tearing the heck out of this corn. Well, hopefully we can seed this plot because it's a little wetter than I thought. As we said on last week's show, I've been getting a good amount of rain down here, and the Nebraska plots are starting to look good, but I might be a little bit late to the party. Well, hey guys, as you saw, Owen's getting cameras out for Loch Ness. Really excited, hope that deer shows up. Hopefully you can find him, and hopefully the story continues. As for me, I've had a target buck of my own show up. We call him the Tight 10. We're down here on a farm we call the River Farm. This is a farm that Caleb's been gracious enough to give me permission to hunt with him. Super thankful to him. We came out here a couple weeks ago and put some axe out just to kind of get an inventory on the farm. And the first good deer on camera, of course, is Tight 10. He kind of calls this place home. He's a homebody, always on the cameras, and definitely a deer we feel a pretty good shot at this fall. And with me having limited days to hunt throughout the year because I film Mike full time, I'm just trying to maximize and get the most intel and give myself the best chance to target this deer. And one of the things we're doing today is trying to make some little quote unquote extremely poor man plots. This is a spot where there's a ton of corn damage from the deer. It's just been annihilated, and there's a lot of sunlight getting to this area of the ground. So Monster Buck makes a blend called the Overcast blend, which is designed for broadcasting into standing ag. And with this spot having this much damage and this much sunlight reaching the ground, I'm gonna try the regular Brassica blend and see how that works. And in a week or two, if I don't have germination, I'll probably come back with the Overcast, add 25, 50 pounds of rye to it. Hopefully we'll have some kind of plot here to target Tight 10. This cornfield is just a destination ag source, and we're kind of targeting how to make these little spots near the edges versus the middle of the field a little bit more appealing to the deer. So we're gonna go ahead and get this plot seeded. I might check on Onyx to see exactly how big it is. I think it's about 1/4 of an acre. I'm gonna check it real quick, see how much seed we need, and we will get the night going. It's about 6:30 right now, so we're running out of daylight. Well, it's like 3 pounds I put out for like 1/4 acre. It's a little bit heavy, but I want a little heavy just because of the fact that I don't know if all this is going to germinate. So it's kind of a test, really, just to see how it works. I've never broadcast into like an area like this. I've broadcasted into beans before and had success, but never into corn damage. So I'm excited to see how it turns out. And like I say, if it doesn't come back, we'll come back with Monster Bucks Overcast. Have ourselves a nice little fall plot here. So I think we're gonna go check the other spot where we can put a plot and see if we can find a tree there. And I keep thinking about this and what the best way to go about it is, but on the northeast side of the farm is a scrape where we probably got the most pictures of Tight 10 last year. And I know he's working out here, but Caleb and I don't really cover this with cameras. We have one vine scrape in here, and the rest are kind of dedicated to the west side of the farm because it's a lot bigger area. Here it's kind of condensed. We kind of know which way the deer are going. There's only a couple places that they go out of the north end of the farm. So I want to try and find a tree up there where we can just sit and watch this before we kind of dive in. And once that corn comes off, you can see this whole field. I think getting some intel and then diving in, plus the cuttybacks, we might be able to make a pretty good plan for a successful harvest down here. So let's get going. Chance, are you tired, buddy? I'm tired. It's humid. That access, you could get out where we park the truck normally and just get in the creek. So if you look on Onyx, what I was just talking about, I like the spot. Basically, we park farther up this way and the creek kind of hits right here on a little crossing that comes into this back field. You can get in that creek, come all the way down the center, and then pop up right here on this little ridge. What wind you would hunt it on is the question, and I think north-northwest. The problem is behind you, you have the west side of the farm, which is that bean field. I think towards the end of the day, that last hour lot, your thermals are really gonna pull down into that creek. And that's kind of what I'm angling for. It's like I say, it's an aggressive sit if we get to that point, but I definitely think it's worth. We could do a hang and hunt there and see how it works out. Could also just get a stand in early, but I'm excited to try it out. Break an ankle on this stuff. That's the camera we first got pictures of them on. We got them on 2 separate mornings off of this camera. And that's when we said game on, time to make a plan. That's the one. You can see that scrape. You're still hunting off of it enough, I think. You should still, especially when this corn's still up, they should walk the edge of the corn. I think we come back and put a stand in this tree right here. We just freshened up the scrape, got a Trax camera on it. This is the scrape that most of those bucks I've been talking about were kind of on last year. This was a great camera for us, got a ton of different deer, good young bucks, some older mature bucks. I really think that oak, it puts us close enough where I think we have at least a calling opportunity at a deer possibly. But I also feel like if the corn comes out late, that these deer are gonna travel that edge and it should give us a pretty good bow range shot. I would say it's about 80 yards from this corner where they go out, and I definitely think I'm gonna put a stand in there at the very least for an observation sit on those plots we put on the other side. Now the idea behind those plots, it's a very minimal kind of effort food plot, right? You're not really targeting deer nutrition or a full-time food plot. It's more just a section of the ag field that you're hoping to get these deer to want to like come through before they head out into the destination food sources. They just come through, stop, grab a quick bite of green. Maybe those does start using it pretty regularly going through and traveling out. And then the bucks might just start naturally coming out that way as well when they're trying to scent check does for that pre-rut time and they're looking for those first available does. So I feel like we've got a pretty good starting point. Obviously, we're gonna watch the cuttyback, see what this Tight 10 does, and we might have to refine our game plan as we get closer to October. But with the limited amount of time I have to hunt, I think we did a lot today that's gonna help us hone in on him come October. So the team's got a lot of exciting stuff coming right now. Obviously, Owen's looking for Loch Ness. Mike has DK is showing up, and we're starting a game plan for him. Caleb has that deer that, I mean, an absolute mega. And when he called me, I was like, man. So I know Tyler and Justin are getting their green plots in this weekend in Missouri, but for right now, me and Chancey are kind of tired. As you can tell, got a little humid on us, sweat a little bit, so we're gonna get headed home. But as always, we appreciate you guys watching the show, and we'll catch up with you guys next week.